What's up, my friends? This episode of Blue Ridge Silverhound, we talk about a really awesome paper money collection that I bought. So stay tuned. Okay, you guys ready? We're going to take a look at a couple coins that I had bought. So this is going to be one of those what am I buying episodes. I am incredibly excited to share this currency collection. We'll get to that here in a moment. I'm going to tell you guys what my plans are. We're also going to talk a little bit about what the possible value for these notes might fetch on the secondary market. And then comes the daunting task. Do I want to sell? All right, some of those questions might pop up in your guys' brain as well. You know, if you come across a collection and you just don't know what to do with it, maybe, hopefully, this will shed a little bit of light on what you should be able to do with your collection. So that way, you know, you got to make sure you're making the right decision. If you're not into the coin and currency game, of course, you know, probably the easiest thing to do would be to sell it. But let's go ahead and start it off. I got a few coins from great collections. Picked up another Mid-State 67 West Point Circulation Rarity quarter, this time a War in the Pacific National Park. As you guys know, I pitched Mid-State 67 W Mint 19s and 20s as a future spec, so I'm beginning to build a position in these coins, but I'm only going for 67, okay, because that's where the total overall population numbers begin to really dip and dwindle. And I feel like that those specific grades, not 65, not 66, but 67s is the grade where you're going to see the most opportunity, because those numbers are still pretty low compared to the 64s to 66s. So keep that in mind. Some of the 2020 West Points have certainly shot up in value. And really, I mean, if you guys were going to jump into this, you have to ask yourself, am I willing to cough up $500 to $1,000 for some of those dates? Graded. You want to buy them, of course, PCGS graded. There are NGC ones out there. 67s are going to be cheaper. But, you know, when it comes to apples grading, people want PCGS, and this one's Gold Shield and all that great stuff. So, good looking coin. I'm going to pick up more as we go throughout the holidays. And I'm most proud about this coin. We have a 1917 Standing Liberty quarter. So this is the exposed booby edition of Lady Liberty. And this one grades out PCGS Mid-State 62 full head. My favorite part of this coin is just the overall original skin on there. Okay, it's not a blast white example. This one definitely has, you know, they're all pretty old, but this one shows the age a little bit more because of that original light, kind of like russet brown toning. It really does give it a little bit of a vintage antique look that I think I was looking for. The best example of this coin that I've owned before this point was like a VF30. And, you know, at that grade, it really doesn't do the coin justice, especially if you're putting one together in a typeset. So I did pick up this one. Simply just beautiful coin. My hunt is over for a Type 1 Standing Liberty quarter. All right, and then, of course, the reason why that you guys are here is going to be for this amazing currency lot. So what exactly do we have here? Well, I'm glad you asked. We have a set of 17 consecutive 1934A $10 Federal Reserve notes. These all came from a this was actually leftover cash from a 1940s movie theater, if you could believe that. So I had received a message from Coins and Ghouls. As you guys know, his name's Adam. He's also on our Q&A panel. By the way, if you haven't checked it out, we do have a live coin Q&A YouTube channel. We do live streams every Monday. Go ahead and check it out. Hopefully to see you there on one of those live streams. But he had reached out to me, needed some information on a group of currency that a lady out in Midwest, where Adam lives, was trying to do something with. Originally, she was just going to go to the bank and cash these in. And I said, hold up a minute, let's see what she got. So the first set of notes that he had sent me were 3 star notes that were in as part of the sequential numbering of the notes. So 3 out of the 17 notes have a replacement star in there, probably because those notes didn't pass quality control due to miscuts or damage or what have you. But all of these notes are in crispy, uncirculated condition. We're going to take a look at each one, discuss value. And personally, I want to thank Miss Stearns for allowing me to purchase these notes and add them to my collection. That's phenomenal. Thank you again if you are a watcher of my channel. All right, so these came in. I actually put them in these sleeves, and I usually opt for the upsized currency sleeves. These are actually for large size notes. But I love the large size note currency sleeves because they're easier to put the note in. You don't have to, they don't get bound, on the edge when you try and open it, because these things are quite staticky when you're opening them. So let's go ahead and examine the first note. It starts out with 10 in the run. And these were all together in order from the leftover, I guess, petty cash from this movie theater. And they weren't, as far as I know, rubber banded or anything like that, because it would show on the note. But these are simply incredible. The green inks, for them being stored for so long, have retained just the vibrancy that you would expect from a note that looks like it was printed yesterday. The paper does have a little bit of a wave on it, and that's kind of like par for the course for older currency, especially depending if you're living in a warmer climate, with a little bit of humidity. So this is kind of like the norm for these notes. It wasn't exactly a sight unseen transaction. Adam had sent me images of pretty much all the notes. The stars were the most important to me in this lot. But the notes came, and I think I'm quite pleased by the way that they looked. I think when these go out to grading, a number of them are definitely gonna get EPQ qualifiers, which is exceptional paper quality. I actually have this one right here. So this one has the EPQ, and that's what you want on your currency, exceptional paper quality. You'll end up receiving a pretty good premium for things like that. But usually, if you have the opportunity to look at a paper money collection in person, that's always better, because you get to check things like, pinholes. And I actually have an LED light behind this note. So you'll notice there's no pinholes because you don't see the light shining through strong on there. All right, so nothing right there. But if we took another note that I know has a ton of pinholes, like this old obsolete currency, you will probably see some pinholes. And keep in mind, this is a very strong light. I know there's a few on here on the face, like right there. I don't know if you can see it. Let me go ahead and kind of blow it in a little bit. So see the pinholes right there? And those are actually staple holes, because they're very, as far as their width from each hole, it's very consistent of staple holes. But those are some of the things that you're going to look for, because when you go to grade these, and let's say, and I've found some really nice crispy notes that have staple holes in them, they will be notated on the currency slab holder. If you decide to send these off to PMG, which is a part of NGC, or PCGS currency, they will notate problems with the note. Pinholes especially. Now, pinholes aren't really the end of the world, okay? When we look back in history, back before the internet age and all that great stuff, when people paid their invoices at stores and businesses, they will usually staple the note to an invoice form, and then when it goes into accounting, that's when they pull it apart from the actual invoice. And, you know, it really, there was a lot of notes out there with staple holes, but you come across the notes with staple holes that have the rust on them. They also use paper clips as well. They'll, you know, and you see a lot of rust problem notes from back in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. It was commonplace and very unfortunate. But when you come across a very original lot of currency like we did here, untampered with for the most part, then, you know, you have really a really nice gem. These notes are fantastic. You know, some of them are slightly off center, maybe to the left a little bit. You do have a crop line right there. This one right here might grade pretty high, like maybe a 63, but it probably won't get the EPQ because they also take into consideration centering. Another thing I like to look out for, which is quite common on these earlier notes, is mules. Okay, so they use a different plate for the reverse, and the way you could tell is that the front plate number size will be different from what's on the back. So the plate number 701, this is what they call a macro, which is the larger size serial number, and the 102, as you could tell, they're both the same size. The micro serial numbers, like let's say if you had a macro, a larger plate number on the front, and a micro on the reverse, that's what they consider a mule because it's a changeover in the printing plates. But these are not mules. I checked every single one, but that is a beautiful 1934A $10 bill. And keep note of the last 3 digits in the serial number, 910. These are in the currency catalog, Freiburg 2006D. But simply fantastic, and they'll note that on the currency sleeve right there. So FR number, okay. Robert Freiburg is the master cataloger of currency, U.S. currency most specifically. So that's the first one right there. We got 910. Here's 911. Good looking note as well. As you can see, it's got that shift over to the left just ever so slightly, and you can see it on the back as well. So it's a good looking note, and they're all really strong, very beautiful. They have no folds. A couple of them might have slight ticks on the top margin. There might be like a really tiny fold in the corner, but it's really not gonna, you know, do a huge disservice to the note when it goes to grading. And PMG is who I'm going to use for this one. Here's another one here. This is serial number 912. Beautiful. As you can see, it's got a small little doodah there and a couple little tiny ticks right here on this top edge. It's okay. So this one will probably grade 1 point lower, but it doesn't have that center fold that you see on here. By the time you see one faint center fold, it disqualifies it as being a crisp unk. So there's that one there. Here's 913. This one's really shifted to the left, so this one will not get EPQ, that's for sure. There you go. So that's the next serial number in the run. And these are all Cleveland's, by the way. Cleveland Federal Reserve notes. As you can see, the big letter D. Big D, baby! For a better reason, I would say. Well, the ladies might, you know, say otherwise, but as you can tell, this one has a little bit of a shift as well. They all seem to have that little shift, but beautiful looking note as well. You have really strong embossing that's going through the paper. That's definitely what you want to see. Here's 915. There you go. Same margins as there. And, you know, that's what you want to see. You want to see the same margins because they all came from the same sheet. All right. If you see them like centered and a little off and, you know, they're all different, that's when you begin to kind of question if they all did, in fact, come from the same sheet. But there you go. What is this one? 916. Here's the first star that was replaced in there. And the 3 stars that are in this consecutive serial run are all consecutive as well. So that is absolutely amazing. 735 star. So how big the stars are on there. Man, it's so gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful notes. I haven't handled a currency lot like this in quite some time. Just a slight little smudge right there from just general handling, I suppose, but very strong, sharp corners. The centering on this is lights out. Very beautiful. And these are Julian Morgenthau dual autographs. Now this one here is 918. You can see it's got a few little ticks. It's got a fold there, top left corner. But the centering on this one is actually better looking than some of the previous ones we looked at. So probably the least stimulating looking note from a cleanliness point of view. Here's 919. And there's the back of the note. Actually, this one looks pretty good. This one, I believe, will get an EPQ. Yeah, it's awfully close. And it just has to be close. It doesn't have to be like hammered centered. Here's 920. Gorgeous looking note. And these are considered light green seals. There's also lime green seals, which are my favorite. And apparently it's the favorite of all the other collectors out there as well. There's also a dark green seal. And they all kind of show up from between 1928 series to 34, I think, C or D, one of those two series. Here's 921 in the series. This one actually looks good. I think this one will probably end up getting an EPQ as well. And they're all somewhere in that kind of like 62 grade up to maybe 64. This one looks like a 64 all day long. It might be the strongest one out of the group. Here's one here with a crop line there, so you can tell that the centering is just a shade off. This is 922, by the way. There you go. Beautiful looking note. Here's 923. And there's the back, so this one's a little bit off center. But that one looks good too. A slight little tick right there on the top left corner. Here's our next star, 736. This one looks pretty good. It's not the best. It has a little bit of a tick right there. So this one's probably going to be, you know, your lower end 62. Probably still get the EPQ on this one. That's gorgeous. Okay, here's 925. So we skipped from 923 star and then 925. These are DA blocks, in case you haven't guessed. 925A, good looking note as well, slightly shifted to the left. Beautiful. And then finally, probably the best, maybe the best star, I don't know. Or maybe that first one is probably better. This is 738. Actually, no, the stars are not consecutive because they skip. 921, 22, 20, 919. Just trying to go to that last star. So we got 735. Yeah, so there was a star that was skipped. It might have been damaged as well, which is possible. Yeah, 736. So we got 738 is where it skipped to. All right. There you go. Last one of the group. Very, very nice. All right. So that's all 17 notes. This was the deal, ladies and gentlemen, that I had purchased through Venmo. Yeah, this is the one that I talked about from yesterday's video. And the first big coin currency deal that I've ever done via Venmo. And it was actually quite refreshing because, as you guys know, Venmo is a part of PayPal. So the process of sending the money is easier, but it's more instantaneous because you just go onto the app and just send it, you know, by scanning that individual's QR code or whatever it is. But yeah, it was quite simple. I sent it as a goods and services, so that way I'm covered as a buyer. And yeah, Adam ended up with the currency. He sent it to me, and I am one Cappy Hamper. Yeah, you know what I mean. But real quick, before I let you guys go for the day, I wanted to also show you guys the attribution guide. I actually use this one. This is quite old, actually. United States Paper Money by, let's say, Kuhaj. And it's a Krause Publishing book. It's one of the best books I've ever invested in. I think I bought this for like $5. It's worth its weight in gold, but all the paper money is in order of denomination. So when you get to the $10 Federal Reserve notes, there's actually a lime green seal right there. You have 1934. So you go on down the line till you hit the series that you're researching, which is a 34A. You find the district, which in this case it's Cleveland, and all these prices are from like 12 years ago. That's how old they are. They are nowhere near close to what the prices are here. They have appreciated so much, especially graded. Like PMG 63s are probably double, if not triple, what these prices are here. It's absolutely phenomenal how much currency has gone up. You think coins have gone up? Currency has shot up quite a bit too. But you know, you have a star and a regular for each district. Now, they're not all like that. There are certain districts where maybe there's no star, you know, and it's just a regular note. And there's also notes where there's not possibly any, you know, maybe there might be a 34 series lime green without Dallas, okay? And they printed nothing at the Dallas BEP facility. Or not the BEP facility, because that's only one spot, silly. But there might not be a Dallas Fed Reserve Bank note, you know, that they printed at the BEP. That's much better. But it's a good way of attributing your notes, because this is what's going to be important when you send them off to PMG or PCGS currency. I mean, they could do it for you, but you're going to make their job a whole lot easier. And I figure the next thing that I wanted to do, not particularly in this video, but when I go to submit these notes through PMG, I'm going to go and sample how to do the submission entry, package up the notes, and get it out. Okay, I'm going to do an A to Z grading submission of currency notes for you guys so you can see what that looks like. But that is a beautiful collection right there. Again, thank you to Ms. Stearns for the purchase. I appreciate it, and that's going to go ahead and do it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. I want to thank each and every single one of you for joining in on this video. Don't forget to like, share, or subscribe if you enjoyed today's content. Hit the dislike button if you don't. Coinaholics, we are discovering together. I want to thank you guys. Thank you for all the support. Love you as always. Have a fantastic Friday, and I will see you on the next coin video. So long.